policy for your consideration to adopt resolution number 2025.14. Over the last several months especially, we have worked through launching a new NeoGov operating system for HR and payroll. Through that process, I've identified some things that our operations were doing that maybe our policy didn't either clearly spell out or needs to amend. So that's where a lot of these changes are coming from. The first change is Article 3, which is the pay plan, Section 10, found on page 10, effective date of salary changes. In this particular amendment, we are just requesting to add information for our 12 and 24-hour employees, and that would be to add beginning of next 28-day pay cycle for those two types of employees, which would be patrol for police and then anyone working a shift for the fire department. If you move to the next item, so that would be an article related to holidays and leaves of absences. Section 4 is holiday compensation, and that is in the handbook on page 27. The second paragraph is identifying that the fire department shift employee would be granted compensatory time off. The current book and the previous personnel policy set at a rate of 10.8 hours. Our operations are actually doing 12 hours. So typically they take two 12-hour holidays at a different time for comp time. So we want to adjust that to reflect what we're actually doing for 12 hours. Starting with Section 8 in this same article, and it also impacts Section 14. This is related to the accrual rates for both vacation leave and sick leave. In our current policy, any accrual rates are to the third decimal place, but the NeoGov operating system is doing everything to 2 decimal places. Through working through launching this new program, I learned that our previous HRIS software was also doing everything to 2 decimal places, and then we were manually adjusting time back to 3, which is a lot of unnecessary work. So we would like to adjust our policy to match how the operations and softwares actually work. I do think it's important to note for any employees that are listening, I understand that rounding is from number 5 and up, but to us not make any employee feel like we're taking a benefit away from them. If the third decimal place was 1 or higher, I moved it up. That didn't impact greatly anything as far as the monetary value of what that day would be. In fact, it still comes out to the number of days throughout the year. It's about the same for accruals. It doesn't go up at all. So that's the bulk of the changes. The final thing would be in Article 9, which is related to disciplinary actions. On page 42 of the policy book, Section 4, right of appeal. The current policy doesn't really clarify what working days means. So we have left the term working days and then added in Section 5, which is the next section starting on page 42 as well, a subsection C, working days, computation of time periods, and we define working days as business days, so Monday through Friday, excluding Saturdays and Sundays and any city-observed holidays. Do you guys have any questions about all of these changes? Because of the accrual rates, we would like to, with your consideration, adopt this resolution, but then make the changes effective January 1st, 2026, which is the new annual period for vacation, sick, and other leave accruals, so it would time perfectly with us making those year-end changes.
That makes sense.
This doesn't have anything at all to do with their pay other than
Correct.
the accrual.
It's really just updating things to make sure that our policy is matching what our operations are currently doing.
And so everything's still the same as far as experience those different increments of years, like every 5
Correct.
years or so.
Yep, so vacation is run on how many years of service. So those service levels are exactly the same. We're just changing everything from 3 decimal places for the hourly accruals to 2.
Okay, if we don't have any.
Okay.
So if the pay cycle, let's say hypothetically ends on the June 29th, the new cycle starts June 30th.
Mhm.
So the 28-day cycle employees they won't get their raise until started until like the end of July.
So let's see.
So I guess they'll miss that month.
They would. So the 28-day pay cycle for 12 and 24-hour employees is running their overtime. So most 8-hour employees, their overtime is a 7-day period, so Sunday to Saturday. But the patrol officers and then our firefighters, those shift fire employees, it's going to look at the full 28-day period to determine how many hours they worked over their regular schedule. So for things like promotions, like for example in the police department, we just promoted a sergeant to lieutenant. So he's staying a 12-hour employee, but that is because a current patrol lieutenant is moving to CID. So they're going from a 12-hour employee to an 8-hour employee. So to not mess up the overtime computations, we make all those changes effective the first day of the new 28-day cycle. If, for example, that same sergeant earned their advanced certificate halfway through the 28-day cycle, there is something in here that says the city manager could set another date. Those types of changes could happen within a 28-day cycle. It's really just the major movements that could create an issue. So we were already kind of doing that, but it didn't spell it out in the policy. It just kind of related it to an 8-hour employee, so we want to add the language in for the employees that are operating on a 28-day pay cycle instead.
That answer your question?
I think so. So what you're saying is on July the 1st, if the city manager starts to pay, I'm just thinking if they get a cost of living of 3%,
Mhm.
and the pay cycle starts on.
We won't hold that.
29th,
So,
then theirs won't take effect till July the 27th.
so cost of livings with the new NeoGov software will go in on July 1st, no matter where the pay period
Okay.
is.
All right, that was-
We were held to we were held hostage with biweekly start and end dates in our old systems. Now with NeoGov, we can start it. It doesn't matter where it falls within the pay period. July 1 is July 1.
So it starts at the state's new fiscal year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think just what they're talking about is about an employee's individual pay, which is not part of the changes in here, but in our prior systems, you couldn't change your pay rate. You couldn't have a different pay rate in that same 2-week period. But in the new system, you can have your change effective the day of the decision, not at the next pay period. So these are good changes, and the elimination of the manual inputs is where that was our goal, and we're getting there. So some of these changes probably could have been done several years ago, but we're learning as we're implementing and using a new system. And
The last few months have been very eye-opening with some of the payroll operations and a lot of the manual entry. There are things NeoGov can do that doesn't require those manual computations anymore, but we want our policy to align with what we're going to do with that program.
We ready for a motion?
Oh, okay,
I'd like to make a motion that we adopt resolution number 2025.14, amending the City of Roanoke Rapids personnel policy.
Second that.
okay, the motion is by Councilman Bell, with a second by Councilman Steinbeck. Any more discussion on the matter? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The motion will be approved.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. And Ms. Johnson?
Okay, the city of Roanoke Rapids has been awarded a grant, under the fiscal year 2024 state and local cybersecurity grant program. and that is administered by the North Carolina Emergency Management and the Federal Emergency Management Agency. And this grant is a pivotal step in strengthening our city's cybersecurity infrastructure, ensuring the protection of our digital assets and enhancing our readiness against cyber threats. The program objectives include development and implement comprehensive cybersecurity plans, train staff in advanced cybersecurity practices, and enhance collaboration with state and federal cybersecurity bodies. The total grant amount is $214,429.62, but it's a 70-30 split with the federal government and the city. The city's part would be the 30%. So the total award from the federal, on the federal side, would be $150,100. And then the city's part would be $64,328.89. So I'm asking you to adopt project ordinance 2025.41 for the fiscal year 2024 state and local cybersecurity grant program.
Anybody have any question on this matter? There being none, call for a motion.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance number 2025.41 for the fiscal year 2024 state and local cybersecurity grant program.
Okay. Motion on the floor by Ms. Bryant and a second by Mr. Bell. Any more discussion on the matter? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion will be approved. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
And the city manager's report?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. It's hard to believe that that next week is Christmas holiday, and just as a reminder, city business offices will be closed Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday next week as we recognize Christmas, and then the week after that will be closed on Thursday, January the 1st, 2026 to observe New Year's Day. I want to extend a congratulations to Kristen Anderson, our planning director. She, at the end of last week, completed the Leading for Results course at the UNC School of Government. She finished that as a civic fellow, and the fellows were selected through a very competitive process across the state. More than 150 applications were submitted, and the leadership at the School of Government selected, and Kristen was one of 24 identified in the leaders across the North Carolina that are stepping up in their departments and demonstrating personal and organizational leadership. And so attendees were shown different models of things, and to help them to learn their own tool, and introduce them to tools and strategies to help emerging leaders with their skills. And so I will just also acknowledge that Public Works Director Chalker attended the program in 2018, 19? I completed it in 2013, and I can just say that it's really one of the best leadership programs that's offered in the state, and the tuition is absolutely free to government employees, courtesy of Civic Federal Credit Union. And so just want to congratulate Kristen for her accomplishment in that. In other business, for compliance with our federal grants, city will, for the next the next month or so, be working with our consultant to complete the 2025 annual performance report that's due at the end of January. It's required by Housing and Urban Development as part of the North Carolina, our Community Development Block Program, for our CDBG grant award. Certificates of occupancy have been issued for all of the buildings at Stateside Landing Family Apartments on Highway 158, and so that is exciting news for our community. Construction is officially underway for the new skate park at Emory Park. The concrete foundations have been set and being prepared for pouring. The fire department is currently implementing a new software program called First Arriving, and it connects critical systems in real-time information platforms, so the department will know exactly what's happening when it matters. And so there'll be monitors, especially monitors in the fire department, but then they'll have also access to the web, mobile, or tablet environments that can help produce information that is intended to help reduce risk, improve efficiencies, provide single-view critical information, and improve situational awareness. And in actual emergencies, this helps to reduce the time that it takes for staff to research certain things, where this combines a lot of the information into one platform and allowing someone to be able to make faster decisions when it's critical with the most up-to-date information. I've recently had an inquiry, and then just to follow up on this, we have had several questions about a property at 100 Hamilton Street, also maybe commonly called the Turtleback House. When I came to work for the city back in 2011 in code enforcement, we were told, leave that alone, don't do anything with it. And unfortunately, that property has not been rescued, and it's becoming a real danger. And so the code enforcement staff have completed its process on that, and will be bringing a report to council next month for your consideration. Coming soon, a new 7-Eleven will begin making some site work that'll be visible. We've been talking about certain things for a while, and then when they start happening, people start asking what's happening. But at the intersection of Julian Allsbrook and Old Farm Road, where the former Carolina Barbecue restaurant was occupied, that building will be demolished to make the way for the 7-Eleven convenience store and gas station. And also, the next item here, I have a correction. The next Main Street Committee meeting will be held on Monday, January the 12th at 1:30 instead of on the 8th, as stated on there. Main Street Director Ashley Thomas resubmitted our application to the Halifax Horizons, and based on some feedback that we had received about our initial application, the informational emergency light towers were declined for funding. They were determined to be more of a public safety project. And so we received some feedback from our economic development director and tourism CEO. And so the application has been revised to incorporate additional facade type improvements. The Main Street Roanoke Rapids has a new Facebook page since Ashley has come on board. And so I encourage you, if you're a user, to go to Main Street Roanoke Rapids, and please follow or like it to stay current with district activities and updates and opportunities as well. Public Works is assisting with the vendor for the initiation of the pavement and asphalt condition survey that will be across all city maintained streets. This will aid in the identification and prioritization of our street infrastructure needs, and if we feel like the contractors working with us may pose any identification issues with the community, we'll make sure we send out any announcements in case people are wondering what they're doing when they're measuring and evaluating streets. The Finance Department is finalizing the details of our independent auditor's report. The presentation will be held on January the 20th during that meeting. Compared to prior years, the audit report has been, or the audit deadlines have been revised by the state of North Carolina. It used to be October, and now it's December, and so hence the reason of the later presentation compared to prior years. We are hiring. The police department currently has 8 vacancies within the Uniform Patrol Division, and we're seeking certified officers. Please contact Captain Gorton Williams or Human Resources Director Christina Cottle for career opportunities within the department or the city. And also, we want to welcome aboard the police department's newest employee, the police support specialist, or was formerly titled administrative support position. A lady named Ashley Sparks has just started yesterday, and so she'll be in the front office there. So as you come into front of City Hall, you'll see a new face, and we're excited to have her on board. Also want to extend congratulations to Joey Spraggins on his promotion to police lieutenant, and he'll be supervising the C squad within that Uniform Patrol Division. And lastly, as a brief reminder, while our offices are closed next week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, our Parks and Rec facilities will offer some limited hours. All facilities will close at 5 o'clock on Tuesday, the 23rd, and then the Aquatic Center will remain open its normal hours until 8. And then again, the Aquatic Center will hold regular hours on the 26th and 27th, and then TJ Davis will be open on Saturday, the 27th, from 12 to 5. Subject to your questions, that concludes my report for this evening.
All right, thank you, ma'am. The finance report?
Okay, for the month of November, our year-to-date receipts was around 10.3 million. Our year-to-date expenditures was around 8.2 million. So our revenues exceeded our expenditures around 2 million. We received ad valorem, prior year ad valorem, motor vehicle, sale of surplus property, sales tax, hold harmless revenue, residential solid waste, commercial solid waste, interest revenue, which is doing very well still, grant and donation funds, and other revenues. So as of November, we are in good financial standing. We must, adhere to our budgets to prevent any overspending.
Anybody have any questions, Ms. Johnson? Okay, thank you, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Being that item 9 has been omitted, I would call for, if no other business needs to come before us tonight, I call for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Mr. Steinbach, second to the motion.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bell. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
If no, we stand